SynthStories starts right now.
Am I overreacting? Husband's friend texted him at 3 a.m. Last night my husband's longtime female friend texted him this at 3 a.m. She's also married. I was pretty worried about it as I don't get along with her super well and it seems like she's planning something suspicious, but I asked my husband and he said that she just acts really weird when she gets drunk and not to worry about it. Am I overreacting? Transcript of the text messages between husband's friend and husband. Friend, quick question: if I ever asked you to sleep with me, would you have said yes? Friend, like when we were both single. Husband, Husband, maybe? Like in the first year or so. Husband, probably not. After that it would have felt too weird, lol. Friend, ooh. Husband, are you drunk or something? Weird thing to ask at 3 a.m. lol. Friend, just a little. Husband, go to sleep. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Friend, okay. Friend, sorry, was just thinking of things that could have been. Friend, gonna delete this text so hubby doesn't get weird. Don't say anything back. Update 1, I confronted my husband's friend. I thought about it for a while and told me husband this morning I still feel weird about it. He told me to tell her my feelings myself, so here's how that conversation went. Honestly, I'm not sure how to feel. It seems like she isn't really interested, but she's also just giving me a weird vibe in general. Transcript of the text messages between OP and husband's friend. OP, hey. Friend, hey, what's up? OP, just wondering. OP, I never did anything bad to you, did I? OP, it feels like you don't really like me sometimes, and I'm wondering why that is. Friend, nah girl, you're tripping. Friend, I have no issue with you. Friend, I know, husband, loves you and that's good enough for me. OP, okay, good to hear. OP, so you respect our relationship completely, right? Friend, no shit. Friend, is this about that stupid 3 a.m. text? OP, to be honest, kinda. OP, it doesn't sit well with me. I tried to let it go but I can't. Friend, sorry to hear you're insecure. Friend, you mean to say you never think about your 20s ever? Blame a girl for wondering, ha ha ha. OP, not wanting your husband to see though? Friend, he wouldn't get it. Friend, but also I don't care. Friend, just prefer to avoid an argument. Friend, when I can. OP, alright. Friend, if you want some advice. Friend, you seem a little controlling, I get that vibe. Friend, and you don't want to go down that road. Friend, it ruins marriages. OP, I'm okay? Friend, just looking out for you, that's all. Update 2, I contacted her husband. So, where do I even begin? After texting her yesterday, I spent most of the day trying to clear my head. When my husband came home from work, I showed him the messages and told him that she made me very uncomfortable and that he should seriously reevaluate his friendship with her. He was not happy about the texts, and reassured me that I wasn't controlling and that he would call her and yell at her about that. However, while he didn't say it outright, he heavily implied he wasn't willing to end his friendship over this. He talked about how long he'd known her, how she'd helped him through some dark times, and how she was usually the nicest person and this was completely out of character. His tone suggested there was no way to convince him, so I left it at that. He did say he was going to make her apologize to me and put their friendship on timeout if she refused. I have not received an apology, so not sure what's going on there. I decided to drop it for the moment and sleep on it, and in the morning I woke up with a plan. I went through some older group chats and found one with her husband in it, so I reached out privately to him and attached screenshots of both the original 3 a.m. text and my conversation with her. He just responded and seriously, what the F? He confirmed my suspicious, but also I'm just speechless, like, what even is there to say about that, honestly? So now I have a woman who hates me when I have absolutely no idea what I've done to her, trying to destroy my life, and I feel as helpless as ever. I don't even know if I want to bring it up again or just try and forget about it entirely, like honestly getting into a big argument with my husband over it is just letting her win. But ugh, I kind of hate my life right now, that's for sure. I honestly just want to break down and cry. My husband comes home in a few hours and I have no idea how I'm going to act normal. Transcript of the text messages between OP and husband's friend's husband. OP, hi, friend's husband, this is OP. I'm not sure if you remember me, but we met at your wedding a few years ago. I had a few concerns about friend and wanted to share them with you, so I've attached some screenshots of conversations with her. First one is her texting husband, and second one is when I asked her about it the other day. I hope you can understand why this feels problematic for me. In the first one, I know that her and husband have had a long-standing relationship before either of us were in the picture, but it doesn't sit well with me that she's up late at night thinking of things like that. And for the second one, the more I think of it, the more she just seems unnecessarily rude and dismissive towards me. I am really not aware of any reason for her to dislike me at all. I've always tried my best to be open and respectful to her, so not sure where that's coming from. Would appreciate your insight and thoughts. Friend's husband, of course I remember you, and thanks for trying to loop me in. To be perfectly honest, we have been dealing with a lot of problems in our marriage for a while, to the point where it's gone far beyond fixing. Both of us have given up on it mostly, and we're still together only out of a mutual desire to do what's best for the kids. So with that context, I hope you understand there's not much I can do. Friend's husband, for what it's worth, I don't think anything will happen with her and husband. Based on my general understanding and the text you attached, I don't think he's interested in whatever she's trying to do, and he definitely isn't the type of person to cheat. However, I do agree she has some sort of grudge against you from the way she's talked about you in the past. She'll never admit it, but it's kind of obvious. My personal theory is that she is just trying to make you mad and to get a reaction here. Either way, for your own happiness, I would recommend the two of you keep your distance. Friend's husband, lastly, I realize it's ironic given the context, but I have to ask that you don't tell her or husband, since I have a feeling it will get back to her if you do, what I've said. I still have to live and communicate with her daily, and I would much rather our relationship be amicable than hostile. Best of wishes. OP, oh my god. I'm so sorry to hear that. OP, I won't tell either of them, don't worry. Update 3. She apologized to me. So to start off from last time, somehow I managed to be mostly normal when my husband came back. I think he noticed I was somewhat off and was acting super nice, but he probably figured I was just mad about the earlier thing. The next morning I told him she hadn't apologized to me, and he said she was probably just taking some time to figure out how to approach it and to have patience. To be honest, I wasn't expecting an apology at all, but it actually came in this morning and she sounds genuine. Yeah, now I'm kinda thinking I actually overreacted, but it is what it is. I do wish it happened before I wasted most of my weekend thinking of it, but oh well, just happy to put this behind me for good. Transcript of the text messages between OP and husband's friend. Friend, sorry. I'm sorry for what I said the other day. Friend, I admit I was mad you brought it up plus wanted to lash out. Friend, but you had the right to ask. And didn't deserve that. So I'm sorry. Friend, are we good? OP, not yet. I appreciate it of course, but there's still a few things I wanted to clear up. OP, do you mind sharing exactly what you were thinking of when you did the 3 a.m. text? Friend, sigh if I must. Friend, last week was just really rough for me. Friend, that's all. Friend, I had to leave work on Monday to pick up her son because he got into a fight. Friend, then had to stay home the entire week because he was suspended. Friend, it made me get blackout drunk a few times and yeah. Friend, not sure what exactly I was thinking, just self-pity I guess lol. OP, okay, fair enough. Sorry to hear about that. Hope you're better now. Friend, yeah, it's whatever, I got over it. Friend, have to be a good example and all ha ha ha. OP, yeah, it just stuck out to me because you defended it when I asked. So I thought it might be more than a drunk thing. Friend, I low-key knew it was weird. Friend, I just said that because I was mad lol. And wanted to annoy you. Friend, like I said, I'm sorry. OP, yeah, no worries. Friend, oh, and by the way, one more thing. Friend, I know you think I hate you, but I swear to God I don't. Friend, I've always supported your relationship. Friend, however I can. Friend, I talked to husband before/after your first date. Friend, gave him advice on proposing. Friend, gave a toast at your wedding. Friend, etc. Friend, bottom line is. Friend, am glad he has you. And I'd never do anything to change that. Friend, sort for not making it clearer the other day. OP, that's great to hear. And I'm sorry if I judged you too harshly. Friend, yeah, no worries. Friend, so are we good then? OP, we are. Friend, heart.
Am I the a-hole for not reminding my ex-husband about our daughter's graduation? A bit of a backstory. My ex 43 and I 43 have been separated for years. We both went through rocky periods with substance abuse. I got clean and he continued to use off and on, choose toxic partners, and not help at all with our 3 girls, now 20, 19 and 16. Previously we alternated whose house the girls lived at according to their wishes, and the other parent had weekends and vacations. A couple of years ago my daughters no longer wanted to stay with Dad. I tried to encourage a relationship, but it was very much me and the girls reaching out and me doing almost all the driving back and forth the almost hour to where he moved. My middle daughter 19 went and tried to stay one more time with him 3 years ago. She became his babysitter for his other child, cook, house cleaner and verbal punching bag. She had a mental breakdown and I took her home to me. Got her counseling and listened to all she had to share with me. Loved her and wiped all the tears. My girls finally communicated the mental and emotional abuse they endured and didn't share for fear of him getting angry. I put myself in the middle and put a stop to any of that. I let him know any of that and we'd have legal ramifications. And validated all their emotions. It was heavy for them, but a heaviness I would gladly carry. In 2023, our oldest graduated high school. I continued to pay for everything: clothes, pictures, hair, senior events, all the graduation expenses as well. With no help. I kept communicating with him and reminding him when things were. He showed up. Fast forward to 2024, I've now paid $14,000 for braces. He stated he would help pay for the girls and began the senior adventure with middle daughter. Ex stopped responding when asked for any help. So I put him out of my mind. I took time off work, ran here and there and did everything I could to make senior year special, same as oldest. Including trips to the university she's attending, so many scholarship applications, financial aid, and buying her everything she needed for college. I stopped messaging X and left it to my middle daughter to communicate with him if she felt the need. It was her decision. She said she'd wait to see if he reached out, as we all know June is graduation time. He never did. Fast forward to the day we're getting ready to go and he calls me all mad that I didn't reach out to him to tell him. I got called in a holy for not including him and reminding him. Communication works both ways, he said. I don't feel like I am the a-hole, but what do you all think?
Am I the a-hole for being furious that my wife's half-sister is bulldozing our marriage and trying to take over as a parent? My wife, 35 female, and I, 36 male, have been married for 13 years and have 2 kids, 12 and 14. She's always been a stay-at-home mom while I work full-time. A few months ago, she suddenly discovered she had a half-sister, and they instantly became glued at the hip. At first, I thought it was sweet, but now it feels like this woman has barged into my family and is rewriting the rules of my marriage without any respect for me. She was the one who took our daughter out for her very first driving lesson, something I'd always dreamed of doing as a milestone with my wife. She pushed my wife into getting matching tattoos, even though I've made it clear for years that I prefer her natural and hate tattoos. And the most infuriating part? She straight up showed up with a puppy for our kids after I had already said no. Not only did she completely undermine me as a parent, but now I'm stuck cleaning up after a dog I never wanted. On top of that, she constantly takes digs at me, gives advice to my wife that feels deliberately divisive, and makes me feel like an outsider in my own home. It's crystal clear she doesn't like me, and at this point, I honestly think she's doing some of this just to provoke me. I've told my wife how disrespected I feel, but she dismisses it and says I should be happy she finally has a sibling to bond with. I would be if her sister wasn't bulldozing her way into our marriage, undermining my authority with our kids, and treating me like I don't exist. Am I the a-hole for being this angry and demanding that my wife finally set real boundaries with her half-sister before she tears our family apart?
My 31 female husband, 31 male, wants to back out of vasectomy over hypothetical situation. I'm upset and not sure what to do. Just wanting to know if I'm being irrational in being upset and how you would proceed in this situation. Backstory. My 31 female and husband, 31 male, have been married for nearly 10 years and just had our 4th child. We always said we would have 3, maybe for 4 kids max, so we are definitely finished have children. My last 2 kids were C-sections, so my body has been through a lot. We decided once we finished having kids, he would get a vasectomy because in his words, I will have done enough, which I appreciate as I feel like if I'm on hormonal contraception, I'm not really myself, just overall not more emotional and unhappy. When my husband went to book his vasectomy, he then said he was worried it is so final, which I replied, good, we don't want any more kids. Turns out he is concerned about what would happen if I died young, and he was to remarry and possibly wanting more kids with that person. I'm 2 weeks postpartum, so maybe I'm extra emotional at the moment, but I got extremely upset by hearing this. We don't want more kids. We'd agreed on this for at least the last 4 years. This would be what we'd do. And now I feel like he's prioritizing some unlikely hypothetical over our current marriage and what's best for it. It also hurts to hear his plans to replace me and just possibly make a new family in general. He said he thinks he will still do it because he loves me. And he knows I want this, but I'm still hurt by all this. And now also worried he'll resent me over a hypothetical. I obviously still want him to get the vasectomy as it's what we had discussed would be best for us as a couple, but I also don't want to pressure him into a medical procedure. I don't know how to navigate this moving forward. Not sure if I'm overreacting, but I just feel sad. Also, I'm not sick in any way, and I'm not more likely than anyone else to get sick. Obviously, we don't know the future, but it's not something we are expecting to happen.
My 26 female boyfriend, 29 male, had another episode of explosive anger, and it makes me want to run from our relationship. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 4 years. Both of us are adults with good jobs, and we are planning on getting married in the next 2 years. I make around $200,000 a year and my boyfriend makes $125,000. My boyfriend has a sport betting problem which he had been downplaying for years. He doesn't see it as a problem, and tells me it's just a hobby. He says he makes enough money and handles all of his responsibilities, so it shouldn't be a concern. I thought it was just a little hobby too, but I found out a few months ago that he's been losing $1,000 to $2,000 a month. He said that sometimes he makes $3,000 to $4,000 from the gambling, so it's okay. I told him that gambling that kind of money is insane and that if he wants to marry me and join finances, he has to completely give it up. I had been saying this for years, but this time I gave him an ultimatum because $2,000 a month is insane to me. After that he promised to quit because he didn't want to lose me and he loves me too much. Fast forward 3 months, I asked him jokingly if he was gonna bet on an upcoming game and he smiled. I was in shock. I asked him, "What the heck, are you serious? You promised me you'd stop for good." He's like, "No, I did quit, I promise." I have no way of knowing if he's being honest, so I asked him to swear to God and he didn't and got mad that I don't trust him. I told him that I don't trust him because he hangs out with his friends that are gambling addicts, and he never lets me touch or go near his phone. I was speaking in a stern and slightly raised tone but nothing aggressive. He got really mad that I accused him of lying to me. We were in the car and he started driving and punching the steering wheel and yelling very loudly saying, "F off man, After everything I do for your BASS, this how you repay me, F off. He then parked the car and we both got out. I walked to my own car and he started walking in the parking lot crying, expecting me to chase him around in a busy parking lot and pacify him. I drove home because I was in such shock from his behavior, and he immediately started texting me to apologize for his words and language. This isn't the first time he's gotten mad and aggressive in the heat of the moment and swore at me. An explosive fight like this happens every 2 to 3 months in our relationship, and I feel like leaving, but he starts crying and saying he can't live without me and apologizes for his behavior. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm too sensitive or maybe push him to the limit. Maybe he really has quit gambling for me and that's why he was so upset that I accused him. Please help. I need advice. I can't keep living like this, but I know leaving him will destroy him. It will take me a long time to feel okay without him, but I know that he will be devastated. Do you think I instigated this fight? Edit. I don't want to be defending him, but I want you guys to get a clearer picture. On every other day he is the sweetest, most caring BF. He is always there for me, spoils me, is somebody who really listens when I need to get something off my chest. I'm not just in this relationship with a mean and angry guy, he also the most caring person I know, but it flips to this other side of him, making me feel whiplashed and confused.
My boyfriend, 27 male, asked to borrow quite a huge sum of money from me, 24 female. How do I deal with this situation? We've only been dating for the last 4 months. Nothing's too serious yet. He's going through a bit of a rough patch as he lost his job earlier this month, but he already has a new job. He just has a few loan payments to pay every month, and since he's not receiving his salary this month, he's finding it difficult to arrange the money. I myself have been in a difficult financial situation for the last few years, and he's aware of it. I live paycheck to paycheck. I never have money to save, though I always make sure to pay my part during dates and have never asked to borrow money from him. The idea of wanting to borrow money from him wouldn't even come into my head, and now I'm afraid of continuing this relationship. This conversation was already so awkward. I wasn't able to refuse him. I said that I'll think about it. What if he asks to borrow money again in the future? I really can't afford to be in a relationship with someone like this, not at the moment. I'm afraid I'm being too selfish. He's a nice guy nevertheless. Update. I refused to give him the money and told him that it felt a bit inconsiderate to ask such a huge amount, and that request has made me uncomfortable when we've only been together for 4 months. He said that I was an awful person for not being able to trust him, and if I had asked him for money, he would have trusted me enough to give it to me. Now, I've been blocked everywhere because my behavior seemed disrespectful to him, and I feel awful. I am hurt, but I guess I have my answer.
Am I the a-hole for telling my psychiatrist I don't feel I can get better while living with my parents, which is what made CPS decide I should live with my grandparents? I'm 17 male, my parents' oldest kid. My siblings are 11, 9 and 5. My parents weren't always super great parents, and they caused me to have a really unhealthy relationship with food. When I was really young, they were anti-junk, processed, and foods that weren't clean. They'd make me finish everything on my plate no matter how not hungry I was. If someone cooked too much, I was expected to help finish it all because we never did leftovers or anything, and no food should ever be wasted. I wasn't allowed to be full when there was food still left. If I tried to leave, they made me sit back down and finish. So it was always weird for them to be so conscious of what I ate but would also expect me to eat more than I could handle. Then they started telling me not to eat so much because I'd get fat or I'd be tubby, and nobody wants that. After a while they relaxed on the cleanness of food and junk, but then they'd tell me if I ate treats at a party I would get so fat. They'd make really negative comments at me for eating some cake and burgers at a party. My appetite was always kinda wonky as a kid, and some days I could eat and other days I wasn't very hungry. So to have them say a few treats at a birthday party was mind-fucking for me. But the days I was actually hungry and would eat the food they made, they still said negative things about it. The comments became way less when my sister, 11, was eating more. They said they realized it shouldn't be pushed much. Then when I was 11, my parents made too much shepherd's pie for dinner, and it was so much that we could have eaten for 3 or 4 days. It was double layered, more like a lasagna too. My parents decided the 3 of us needed to finish it, and I got enough for 3 meals on my plate, and they kept telling me to make sure there was no waste, and if I slowed down they told me I needed to eat it. It was too much for me and I ended up puking everywhere. I couldn't finish it either. My stomach just couldn't, and it was coming up my throat and out my nose, or it felt like that. My parents were like, why would you do that, because I puke at the table and all over them too. After that, my unhealthy relationship with food became an eating disorder and I had anorexia. It started slowly. I didn't eat at school. But then I didn't eat at all. I hated food. I hated myself. My head was such a mess. It was last year that it caught up with me and everyone found out I'd been starving myself. I ended up in a 90-day treatment program for eating disorders and I was assigned a long-term psychiatrist. When I was finishing up my program, I was asked how I felt about going home and stuff. I told my psychiatrist I didn't think I could get better at home with my parents. I said their visits were already stressful and seeing them made me think of all the comments, the times they made me eat. That prompted the psychiatrist to contact CPS and tell them this. After someone from CPS talked to me and everyone, it was decided I'd go to live with my grandparents after the treatment program. I still live with them. My parents visit, but they're so angry that I'm not with them. They have asked me over and over again why I did it when they apologized and realized where they had gone wrong. They have a really huge problem with the fact I didn't ever come home to them and that our relationship isn't being worked on. To be honest, I can't focus on my relationship with them or my siblings right now. My grandparents told my parents I was where I needed to be and they needed to stop. But I can see how mad and hurt they are and I never wanted that. I just don't feel I could ever be home with them. Am I the a-hole?
My 28 female boyfriend, 29 male, let my stalker ex, 28 male, into our apartment to leave me a birthday surprise. How do I handle this absurdity? I, 28 female, broke up with my ex, 28 male, 10 months ago, but he will not get over it. Despite me wishing to no longer interact with my ex, as well me as dating someone new, Cole, 29 male, my ex has been trying to win me back by doing over-the-top things like sending me gift baskets, love letters, chocolates, etc., even though I've blocked his number on all social media and always ignore his attempts to woo me with his gifts. He never actually interacts with me directly. Never waits for me outside or tries to talk to me. He just leaves me gifts at our doorstep and runs away. It's creepy and makes me super uncomfortable. Cole, who I live with, doesn't actually see an issue with this and says he feels bad for my ex and doesn't want me to waste my ex's money/efforts, so I reluctantly just let Cole eat the chocolates and other crap since he insists I don't throw them out. He even likes reading the love letters even though I tell him I don't want to. I don't understand why he's so chill about this because my ex and Cole aren't even friends and have never interacted, so it makes no sense why he's so okay with my ex doing these dumb gestures that he knows make me uncomfortable and creeped out. If anything, Cole should be pissed off that someone is trying to steal his girlfriend, right? Anyway, all of this finally came to a head on my birthday. After work, I came home to our apartment decorated in balloons, chocolates, and flowers. I'm immediately touched, thinking all of this was a surprise from Cole. Nope. Apparently, my ex actually came over with all this crap, buzzed our apartment doorbell, Cole let him in, and allowed my ex to decorate our apartment and leave gifts for me. Then my ex left before I could get home. Cole apparently saw no issue with this. He literally let my ex into our apartment like it was no big deal because my ex came all the way with all these gifts, which was such a thoughtful gesture. Now I feel totally unsafe. What if my ex secretly left a hidden camera or something? I have no idea why Cole is so fine with all of this. I've talked to him over and over and he won't understand why I would want to reject free stuff from someone who cares about me. I love Cole, but the fact that he actually let my ex into our apartment was a huge breach of my trust and I have no clue how to deal with this. Is this relationship just unsalvageable, or is there a way I can get it through Cole's head that none of this is okay? Could Cole have ulterior motives by letting my ex do all of these things? Any advice is welcome. I just have no clue how to handle this absurd situation. Thanks. Edit. Thank you for all the insight, everyone. I really appreciate it. I don't have the money to do everything that was recommended, but I am going to do some investigating into Cole and my ex possibly being in cahoots with each other and confront Cole this weekend, likely to end this clusterfuck of a relationship. If there's any interest, I'll update if anything significant happens. Thank you again. Date. Too long, didn't read. My boyfriend Cole has been allowing my stalker ex to send me gifts like it's no big deal, and even let my ex into my apartment to decorate for my birthday. When I got back home on Friday, I tried to come up with a good plan to keep myself safe while I confronted Cole in case he were to do something scary. A lot of people put the fear of God into me in the comments of my last post. I invited my very tall and intimidating younger brother over to be there while I talked to Cole. My brother couldn't come over until Sunday, so I spent a day and a half awkwardly trying to pretend everything was fine, but I must have done a shit job because Cole kept asking me what was wrong and love bombing me. Eventually Sunday came around, my brother showed up and we grilled Cole about why the hell he's been so fine with my ex coming around with gifts and even letting him in to decorate our apartment for my birthday. I was not ready. All of you had a lot of theories, one of which came up a lot was that the two knew each other and or were working together to do this. If anything, I would have rather that been the case because the truth is so much more fucked up. Basically, Cole has been fixated on my ex. He has essentially been stalking my stalker. Cole admitted that he made fake social media accounts, yes, multiple, to follow my ex and has been stalking his Instagram and Facebook. Apparently, my ex has been making a lot of vent posts about me and how hurt he is that I'm not returning his feelings and have moved on so fast, and Cole has been egging him on his alt accounts to get my ex to keep trying. The reason my ex is still stalking me is because Cole has been literally telling him to on his fucking alt accounts. It's obvious my ex is unstable if he's listening to random strangers telling to keep trying, and Cole is taking advantage of his instability by planting thoughts into his head. If I am to believe Cole's words, my ex has no idea that it's Cole that's been encouraging him to keep pursuing me, but I can't be certain about anything this guy says at this point. So why, you ask, was Cole doing all of this? That is exactly what my brother and I asked. This was his answer: to give my ex false hope. Basically to bully him. Anytime my ex angst posted on his social media about me, Cole got some sick satisfaction out of watching his misery. He wanted to string my ex along to keep trying to win my heart just to watch him fail over and over. Cole finds it hilarious that my ex is wasting so much money on gifts for me and that it's him who eats the chocolates and reads the desperate love letters my ex sends to me while I act like my ex's gifts are radioactive and avoid them. This has all been some sick game to see how long he can get my ex to keep pining for me. Who the hell even does this? I've been living in fear for months because Cole thinks it's funny to manipulate my ex and watch him be heartbroken. I cannot articulate how sick all of this is. How is this funny? What is wrong with him? He said he makes sure not to go too far by discouraging my ex to make direct contact with me, but I can't believe anything anymore. I've read so many stories of people who were dating someone who seemed so sweet initially but turned out to be actually unhinged, but I naively never thought that could be me. I was so careless and dumb because I clung to someone who finally treated me with kindness, but he is a twisted man who turned my ex into a monster by feeding his delusions. I think if he hadn't done all this, my ex probably wouldn't still be stalking me in the first place. My constant fear and discomfort have just been an unfortunate byproduct of his little game of puppetry. I can't even comprehend how someone could do something like this. I'm so shaken up I feel like I'm spiraling. Suffice to say, I'm living with my brother and his GF while my ex gets the hell out. I told him he needs to move out within the week or I'm getting the cops involved. He didn't make a fuss or anything, surprisingly. He just looked at the floor like a kicked puppy. He hasn't even tried to call or text me, but I blocked him just in case. I'm going to see if my landlord can understand my situation and let me break lease early with no extra cost, but if I can't, my brother is going to cover the extra cost in the meantime, and I'll stay with him and his GF until I can find somewhere else. My brother is seriously a godsend. I'm definitely going to go back to therapy as soon as possible because this whole situation has me unable to sleep at night, trust anyone, and I really need a better understanding of what are red flags in relationships. So many of you told me I was a pushover, and you're all right. It shouldn't have taken this long for me to call this relationship with Cole off. This is so fucked up, but I'm safe for now. I don't know what I'd do without my brother and his GF. Thanks to everyone who told me to get out of this relationship because Cole was way more twisted than I ever could have thought. I don't even know if he told the whole truth, but I don't even care anymore. I'm out. Gone. Never looking back.
Am I the a-hole for getting upset with my husband over his phone conversation with his twin brother? Trigger warning for SA. Very brief backstory. Our daughter was M-worded by my husband's niece for 5 years when they were younger. It happens to be my husband's twin's daughter. Needless to say, when this all came out, they denied any wrongdoing. To this day, this girl has never had to speak to anyone about what happened, nor has she been held accountable for what she has done. My husband's family totally blamed my daughter and I and disowned our entire family. My daughter and I have had no relationship with anyone in his family for almost 8 years. My daughter has also made it very clear to her father that she does not want them to know anything that is going on in her life. She feels they lost that privilege when they disowned us when she told us about the SA. A couple of weeks ago my husband's phone rang and he went outside to answer it. I overheard some of the conversation and honestly thought it was just a friend of ours calling because of the tone and content of the conversation, as it was all about our kids and what they were currently up to, with a fair amount of laughter involved. After about 30 minutes, my husband finished his call and came inside. I casually asked who was he talking to. He said his twin. I lost it. I was so mad that not only did we get into an argument, I also sent the a-hole twin brother a text message telling him to never inquire about the well-being of our children ever again. Which he took a screenshot and sent it to my husband with the caption, "Your wife has issues." Damn right I do. Your daughter M-worded our daughter for years. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that he had better address this with his twin, or this could be the end of our marriage? Edit. To address the legal aspect, yes, the sexual abuse was reported. My daughter had to speak to several law enforcement officers and sit through a forensic interview. Unfortunately, where we live, the county attorney decided to not press charges.
Am I the a-hole for taking my daughter somewhere when my husband and sons went on a boys' trip? I, 43 female, have triplets, Mark, Liam, and Abby, 14, with my husband Josh, 45 male. Last Friday Josh decided to bring Mark and Liam on a spontaneous trip to Six Flags. I don't like amusement parks, so I wasn't bothered by not being invited. Abby asked to go as well, but Mark and Liam said it was a boys' trip and that she would ruin the vibe. Abby was upset because she felt left out and I felt bad for her, so I decided we'd have a day out. On Saturday we went to Cheesecake Factory, our favorite restaurant, a local spa, and I let her have a mini shopping spree at the mall that only came out to about $150. I paid for it all since I got a hefty bonus and didn't know what else to spend it on. She felt better after, and we even had a heartfelt mother-daughter moment at Build-A-Bear where we made each other bears. We also had brunch on Sunday, although it wasn't very costly. The boys came home last night and Abby was excited to tell Josh all about what we did over the weekend. He got mad and confronted me about it, saying I shouldn't have done that. I asked why, because he refused to let Abby go in the first place, and he said it was a boys' trip and that I shouldn't get her used to special treatment for not being involved in anything. I asked why it bothered him so much, since I know he'd do it for our sons, but he won't tell me why it bothers him so much. He ended up even trying to take her bear, but I wouldn't let him. He's being cold to me and Abby now, and I'm at a loss. Am I the a-hole? Update 3 months later. It's been a while since I made my first post, and enough time has passed that I figured I would update. Firstly, I want to clear some things up. The boys' trip was not just one day, it was from Friday to Tuesday. I saw multiple people say it was just a day trip, so I wanted to clear that up. The question everyone is asking, why did I defend Josh? I wish I had an answer better than I was in denial. I didn't want to think that Josh was horrible because I truly loved him at the time. I don't anymore. At the time, though, I was scared to accept that he was a bad person. The update, I took the kids and we went to my sister's house. Mark and Liam protested, but I told them it wasn't their choice to make. I told Josh that we were leaving for a while and he literally said, "Fine, as long as I can keep the boys with me." We had an argument about it and it escalated to the point where police had to intervene. He didn't get physical, but he was verbally aggressive towards all of us and they had to calm him down. I think that was the moment I realized I couldn't do it anymore and decided it was over for us. I was able to force him into family therapy with the help of his family. They were appalled by his behavior and didn't understand what was happening either. I wish I could tell you all that we came to a big revelation and finally understood everything, but unfortunately that didn't happen. The therapist asked Abby to speak and she asked Josh directly why he didn't let her go on the trip and why he got upset that she spent the day with me. He refused to speak and just walked out of the session. He blocked both me and my daughter, and the last thing I heard from him was him texting Liam and telling him to tell me that he expects custody of both the boys, and not Abby, if we divorce. I still don't understand what's going on with him, and neither does his family. I also talked to all the kids separately. Abby said that nothing happened between the two of them and that she was confused as to why he hated her. Liam and Mark said that he told them that they should leave Abby home because it was a father-son's trip and insisted that the trip was going to have a certain dynamic that Abby would ruin. He convinced them to not want her on the trip and they obliged because he said he was going to cancel it if she came along. As for what happened on the trip, they just said that they spent pretty much all their time at Six Flags and the worst thing that happened was they didn't have sunscreen. As of right now, we're still living with my sister. Mark and Liam are still sharing a room and got used to it. Abby is still shaken up from the situation and sometimes I catch her blaming herself for all of this, but I make sure to remind her that it's not her fault. All three are on a wait list for individual therapy right now and I'm considering it for myself, but for now I'm focusing on them. I'm looking to see what my options are for housing, and as much as I would love to keep our home, I don't know if I can, and I'm looking into other houses/apartments as backup. I'm hoping the divorce process goes smoothly, but I can see Josh dragging it out as long as possible. I'm monitoring Mark and Liam's text messages in case Josh says anything or tries pitting them against me or Abby. He still won't talk to Abby or me, which I am fine with as of now. I know Abby misses her dad, but I think even she realizes that she's better off without him. That's basically it for now. I'm not sure if this is the end of everything or if I'll be dealing with a lot more with the divorce. In any case, I think my kids and I will be fine. Thanks to everyone on the original thread for giving me advice and helping to pull off the rose-tinted glasses. I dread to think about what would have happened if I never came here and stayed with Josh.